It was such extreme pleasure and privilege to have Dr. Matigi with our students this morning. A gift from the World Food Prize to have a laureate here amongst our students and our faculty to inspire them. And her message about her personal life experience and her education and her road to her career and this tremendous success, but especially the global impact that she's having, was an absolute inspiration to all of us, but especially to our students who needed to hear the story of hope and resilience, but also that they too can make a global impact.
We as scientists are not making technology for the sake of sounding innovative. Yeah? It must be science with a purpose. Who are we making this technology for? How do we want this technology to be used by the end user? Yeah? So we must be humane enough to have the end user in mind as we develop or innovate technologies.
So when I asked the question here about how many students here in Iowa in this class here want to go into agriculture, is anybody here interested in a career in agriculture? Or is that considered boring? No hand came up. Then when I asked them how many of you want to go into information technology, IT, about half the room raised their hands. This is a common problem, not just here, but around the world. Agriculture is not sexy. These kids want technology that's on the cutting edge, where they think that it's going to look cool as a career and as a way of life. But I'm here to kind of change that narrative and tell them that, look, agriculture is exciting. There's a lot of innovation. There's new seeds, there's GPS. All these things that we do, that we develop, that are technology, are also there in agriculture. Otherwise, we really have a big challenge ahead of us if nobody is going to grow the food that we all want to eat.
I'm constantly wondering, with the university the university so close with us, Iowa State, and a very huge focus. We've got DuPont Pioneer here in town, Chemin Industries here in town, all these places that are very agricultural centered, but yet our students we're not getting that connection through to them. And I take it as a personal initiative for myself to open their eyes to how they can get involved in agriculture, and his challenge for them to spend a week on a farm, to add it to their bucket list. I love that idea, because I think kids drive through and pick up their burger, or they drive through and pick up their drink, and they don't really think about the coffee grower or the cattle person. And we're getting further and further away from food production. I think it's important that our kids experience that. And he actually made me think a little bit about what I can do here to get kids that connection.
So I really think that there's something almost primal in all of us. When human beings grow their own food, this connection with nature and the soil is something that I think is almost spiritual. You want to have that experience of knowing where your food comes from, working with the soil, waiting for the rains. That connection in nature is not something that you find in any other profession or any other career path. I believe that by exposing yourself to that, just an open window about living on a farm for about a week or 2 weeks, it gives you a very different perspective.
It's interesting for our kids, especially at Hoover, where over 25% of our kids are of refugee status, and they live this life that he talks about. Our kids don't, and this is a nice connection for them to see that maybe their first step is here in America. That gives them a bit of hope. Now they see this gentleman from Zimbabwe studying at Cornell and going back to his home country and helping make life better. I hope it's a window into the opportunity that they can have.